Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Mike McGuire, and I'm a professor of communications here at Moraine Valley Community College. Today we're here with our Composition 2 course, a course that introduces students to college-level research and writing. College-level research writing. To some, that may sound like a rather dull enterprise, rife with long hours isolated in the bowels of a college library, sitting glossy-eyed, basked in the glow of a computer screen, spiraling aimlessly down the rabbit hole of an academic database. While many students have spent their fair share of time in such precarious positions this semester, most did far more than that. Together, we've made this semester not just an exercise in academic thought, but one of action. This semester, we've used a method known as critical service learning. Critical service learning is a pedagogical approach that connects an enhanced academic experience, civic skills, and service with the community in order to better understand the social issues that affect us all, while at the same time working to create positive change. Rather than limit ourselves to the confines of classroom, library, and digital web, students this semester have collectively partnered with 23 separate community nonprofit agencies as a way of conducting fieldwork, research alongside experts in fields ranging from food insecurity, disability rights, early childhood education, elder care, animal welfare, immigrant rights, homelessness and housing, cancer support, ecological restoration, and extreme global poverty. I don't think we left anything out in that list. Students combined this fieldwork research with their own personal writing and other intensive research efforts. Ultimately, they worked to raise their own levels of awareness and critical consciousness on these issues so that today they could share with you their understanding and call you to action. Please listen carefully to these students with an open mind and an open heart as they weave together their stories of self, a story of us, and most significantly, the story of now.
Okay, so hi, my name is Emma, and I will be speaking about the elderly today. So starting off, I did not know much about the elderly, nor did I really care for their issues. Sounds selfish, right? But like everybody else, I did not really live next to my grandparents, and I did not have weekly visits with them since we lived in different states, but of course I loved them. I always wondered to myself, why are the elderly so judgmental? Why are they so rude? Why are they so grumpy? I had that perspective in my head for such a long time, and I believe it's because I was never around any people that are elderly. I was always around young, middle-aged people. I never had a chance to get along with my neighbors or anything like that. I never had a chance to visit any close family friends. I just ignored them. It was selfish. But when Professor McGuire was handing out the service learning, the sheets, I was looking through it. Many of them seemed interesting, but I thought to myself, the Holy Family Villa is a great opportunity for me to learn more about them, to get a whole new perspective. So I chose that. As I arrived there, I noticed most of them loved to play bingo. You know, most of them, some were nice, some were mean, you know, typical people. But I noticed something. I noticed many of them had a face of hopelessness. Many of them seemed depressed. I wondered to myself, why do they seem like this? They don't have to do anything. They just sit, sleep, play bingo, and eat. Why do they seem so depressed? For my curiosity, I looked this up, and studies show that many elderly people become depressed due to, feeling like they're a burden to their family. They feel useless. They feel worthless. They feel, old, fragile. And many of them also have increase with depression if they have any heart problems. And this is according to cdc.gov. So, the good part is the majority of them are not depressed, but we should keep in mind the minority because everybody matters. This matters to us because one day we're going to be old. We want people to help us out as well. Also, studies also show a study by Judith Graham the study states that society shapes our way into how we see elderly. You know, if we say, oh, the elderly are weak, they're annoying, they're ugly, then that's how kids are going to perceive themselves when they grow older. And this will affect us, and we should no longer have this stereotype. We should see them as human beings just like everybody else. We should not have all these terrible stereotypes on them. I do not believe in that, and it is very wrong. And many people think it's funny, but in reality, it's not. And many of them become depressed because, you know, they just feel isolated, they feel neglected in the nursing homes, they feel lonely. So my advice to you guys, if you have any grandparents, visit them. If you could go volunteer at the nursing home even, arrange bingo games. Trust me, they love bingo. We're all gonna be old one day, so I believe we need to return the favor. We need to take care of everybody, and we also need to encourage the youth to take care of the elderly as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about a writing I wrote called "We Need to Work Together Now to End World Hunger." Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Barrett, and I want to talk about how food and insecurity personally affected me growing up in a large working class family. When I was about 13 years old at the grocery store, my mom was paying for groceries, and I seen that she was using a different card. It wasn't a Visa, it wasn't a MasterCard, so I asked her about it, and she said it was a link card. A link card is also known as a food stamp card, and it's obtained through an application through the Supplemental Nutrition Program, and I kind of felt like an outsider of society when I realized that my family was getting extra help from the government. I think government programs are especially important to American society because it seems like every year they're cutting funding for these programs and many others like it. So you're probably thinking to yourself, how does this affect us? Well, probably most of these people in this room have had someone that's gone through food insecurity or another problem like that. Yeah, I think it's very important especially for college kids, because recent statistics said that more than half of community college students have some type of food insecurity. I think that's a pretty shocking statistic, but just recently, I started my work at the St. Blaise Food Pantry. It's located in Summit, Illinois. It's open Monday, Friday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. When I was there, I got a good chance to look at all the people of the community and see how diverse they were. There's Hispanic people, Polish people, people of every race and color, shape and size that are having food insecurity issues in America. Now, we have a chance between looking away and doing something about the problem. I propose that we can work together this Thursday and Friday at St. Blaise Food Pantry, and I'll be there for sure. So if anyone else wants to be there and show up and say that we're not afraid of food insecurity and that we will do something about it, I'll be there as well. Right now, I just want to take the chance to hand out some information about St. Blaise Food Pantry, because I have a feeling a lot of people in this room haven't heard about it. So.
All right. Good morning. Hope everyone has had their coffee. It's early, because I haven't. But I hate coffee, so I guess it's good. So I'm going to start off with a quick question, and if you guys could just do me a favor and just quick interaction, just by a quick show of hands. The question is, when you guys are driving, or maybe if not driving, walking or biking, you guys see a guy on the corner of the street with a cardboard box cut out and with a marker written on it, and it says, "Homeless and hungry, please help, God bless." So how many people in this room actually give something, whether it be your lunch, a sandwich, coins from your cup holder, or rather just be a coupon or even money? How many guys actually give something? Quick show of hands. right, so a good handful of you. It's interesting because, I always have this like internal conflict asking myself, should I give this guy money? Should I give him, and I don't want to give him my sandwich because I got bear grips on that. You don't want to take my food away from me. But I do, and I give them, I came to this conclusion that if I have something, rather than giving money, because I learned within our class that sometimes giving money it might not be the best option because you can be contributing to a bad habit, though you may not know it, even though everything's with good intention. So if I have food, Gatorade, water, something, I'll give it. Especially during the winter, I'm always giving that. I'll give gloves or something, but mainly it's always like a food thing because you can't turn that into a bad habit because if that's the case, then I'm doing pretty bad. But, so I would always do that. So then about a few years ago with my church, we did a mission trip. We went out to the border between Haiti and Dominican Republic. And it was an eye-opening experience. It was something that I cannot try to forget if I tried. It was intense. It was way different from over here. And when I tell you that the lifestyle that we live is, a luxury, it truly is. Over there, they barely have clothes on their back. And it's pretty interesting to see how they live. Now, I went there with the initial reason of building a fence with my church for this local group, this local village. So we would do these things and organize the fence building through shifts. So it was my turn to start the shift. I was waking up, I think it was about like 9 in the morning, and I'm walking to the site. And from a distance, I could see a little boy crouching on his knees, hugging his knees. And with one arm, he has like a sack, and then in the other arm, he's just holding his knee. And he has this very lifeless expression, very vague, very like, kind of like he was bored, kind of like he was sad, kind of like he was lost. He didn't know what he was doing. Kind of like he was crying. Now, so I'm seeing him, I'm like, oh, this kid's up early in the morning, man. I want to go say hi, go, say something to him. And he had like a sack in his hand. So I'm walking up there, and the closer I got, I realized that he was crying. He did have this lifeless expression in his face, and it wasn't a sack that was in his hand, it was his little brother. And his little brother wasn't moving. His little brother had died of hunger. And it's something that I can't forget, and it's like a real thing that I see, and like he's just like a little boy, and it's sad. So in immediate fear, I ran. I didn't know what to say or what to do. I ran. So that was so moving to me, and it was like real impactful on my life that to see that there's like, it's not just hunger itself, like it's these little kids. And I constantly would remind myself that of just that image, and it's real hard to forget it. This kid's like, he's just a little boy. He didn't really have a chance. So with that in mind, I took that as an opportunity, and Mr. McGuire offered us these opportunities through our class, which I want to thank him for, to do our service learnings. So as many of you guys know, we did service learning in our this semester for our class. And I had the opportunity and I was grateful enough to get a chance to donate my time and money into an organization called Feed My Starving Children. So with all this stuff that I had in mind about what had happened, I took this with me and I ran with it. So I joined this organization. Feed My Starving Children is an organization, excuse me, is an organization that they'll organize food. So with your donations, they'll supply the actual meat part of it. So a scoop of rice, a scoop of vegetables, a scoop of vitamins, and a scoop of, I don't know what type, it was like a grain of some sort, protein. And it was just basically all the necessities that you need. All you need to do is just add water, and it's enough to feed 4. And it's crazy how that works. It was really like an assembly line. So I was the back end of the assembly line. I'm sealing these things, and it was really an eye-opening experience for me where I can actually see that there's people there's other people who see this, and it's nice to see that people are interacting and that it's a broad thing where everyone can really notice and take action. And the big eye-opener for me was I went in there with the attitude that it's going to be a somber feeling. You know, we're here to feed starving kids, and it's, you know, I'm expecting it to be quiet, you know, and people aren't really going to be talking. It was a party in there, literally a party. Like, a little girl had her 10-year-old birthday. She was 10 years old. She had a birthday party where she brought her friends and her family, and they had music playing. They're playing, you know, all this exciting, everyone's talking, and they made it a race. And the coolest part was that each table, there was a station, and above each table was hanging a sign for the country that you were donating to. So ironically enough, I don't know how this had happened to me, but mine was Haiti. And I thought that was so unique because the reason why I was there was with this mental image from when I went to Haiti. So I thought that was, you know, just a strike of luck, I guess. But everyone else had some, you know, some was from Ghana, some was from, you know, things in the Middle East. And it was really nice. So it was a real, like, heartwarming experience that I had. And I'm very lucky that I was able to go. And it's just super nice to see. So when I went, we packed boxes. So we packed 134 boxes of manna meals. So within those boxes, total meals, we had 28,944 meals that we made in just 2 hours. 2 hours of your time is all they ask over there. They don't ask for your money. Though your money is graciously appreciated, your time is all they ask. So I went on a Friday, 2 hours of my day in the morning. That's all it took. And that feeds 80 kids for an entire year. That's 3 square meals a day, 80 kids for a year. And the cost of that is $6,367, which was like what it took to contribute to make those meals and stuff. So those stats to me were just like an eye-opener that all it took was my 2 hours of donating, and I was able to contribute to those statistics, and I felt great. And I encourage all of you guys, and I invite you guys to go. It's such a eye-opening experience, and it's really heartwarming to actually see that there's kids that are helping kids, and it's really nice. And it's Feed My Starving Children is located. There's a few locations. The one I went to is in Aurora, Illinois. But it's a great experience, and I definitely would recommend one of you guys to just check in with your local food pantry or your food drive organization. It's a beautiful thing to be able to help people. And my name is Jonathan Cardenas, and I hope I was able to give you guys some insight and enlighten you guys on this situation. Thank you.
So, hello, my name is Avery Coney, and I'm going to be talking about animal abuse. Growing up, my family has always loved animals. We've had dogs, cats, and unfortunately, guinea pigs. But the root of our love came from my great-grandma. Unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to meet her, but my mom always tells stories about her. She loved animals. Everyone she came across that needed help, she always gave a helping hand. She even raised a raccoon from birth. Yeah, a raccoon. You thought it was a dog. He ate with the dog, played with the dog, and even chased around the yard with the dog. It was unbelievable. And the root of her love was passed down to my mom, and my mom passed it down to me. Not only is this love shared with my family, but is also shared among others like Jennifer McCarty. Jennifer McCarty is the volunteer coordinator at the Animal Welfare League. For those of you who don't know what the Animal Welfare League is, it is a free clinic, adoption, and store. It is where animals are taken when they are given up or found as strays. Over the semester, I've had the opportunity to spend some hours at the Animal Welfare League. I was trained to walk dogs, clean the cages, and I even helped a few get adopted, which is really exciting. On my very first day, though, I came across something really terrible. It was my orientation. I walked in and saw a dog extremely abused. You couldn't even tell the dog's face was actually its face. I was heartbroken. I was like, how can people do this to such a helpless animal? I was like, why is this happening? How do these workers get through these types of situations that happen all the time? And later I was informed that counselors are actually kept on call for these types of situations. Can you believe it? Actually having to talk to a counselor for these types of abuse. It was crazy. I was like, that's just, how can that happen? You know? Not only are dogs abused, but they're also left behind. Jennifer McCarty, when she first encountered her dog, his body was 80% burned. Not only, the dog needed a lot of care and attention, and Jennifer was up to the task. She was originally just supposed to foster the dog, which means to take him home, like with the burn cream, obviously, and nurse him back to health before he could be brought back to be adopted. Jennifer fell in love with the dog and ended up adopting him and still has him to this day. Obviously, it's not up to all of us to adopt every abused dog, but it is necessary for us to help end animal abuse altogether. First things first is to be informed on what animal abuse is. It can be as little as leaving your dog in the car with the windows up. Like, if it's hot outside, obviously it's not healthy for the dog to be in there. In seeing this, a person being informed will have the opportunity, strength, or courage to call the police and let them know, like, hey, this dog doesn't look so good, it's hot in there. And secondly, you can do, if you're not willing to call the police, is call like a legislator. You know, there are already bills out there to make animal abuse a domestic or felony charge. Nothing scares people more than a huge charge of abusing their dogs. And for those animals who haven't been helped for animal abuse, the least we can do is volunteer or donate. The Animal Welfare League is all about donations. All their food is donated and made in the kitchen there. So helping out is making the lives better for the ones who were abused, have a better experience at becoming better and actually getting adopted. So, thank you.
Hello, I'm Sean. I'm going to talk about affordable housing today. I come from a working class family in the town down the street, Worth. Like a lot of working class families, we fell on hard times. We lost our house in an unfortunate accident caused by termites, and that mortgage ended up being put on to our new house, and my family couldn't afford it, and we ended up losing a new house. With that in mind, I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity. Habitat is a good organization. It's pretty much building houses in poor areas. And that's not what struck me. What struck me was to drive there. Driving there, I noticed an extreme difference between the Beverly neighborhood, which is very rich, and the West Pullman neighborhood. West Pullman is very, very poor, abandoned houses. There was fields that were as long as the street, and there was no houses on there. Abandoned storefronts, everything. Yeah, we don't know how good we have it. We don't know what it's like to be on the street. We all live in a comfortable lifestyle, at least I assume, because, I don't know, suburbs. I myself, I usually, when I see a homeless guy on the street, I usually think that they're just drug addicts or they're not hard workers or anything like that. And that was wrong of me. I'm sure a lot of you here have the same thing, have the same perception of people on the street. And I'm telling you that we should change that perception that we're better than them. They're people. What if they're a veteran coming back from war? What if they're a teacher that just got laid off? You know, what? They're a mother or a sister or a brother. They're just like us. And I'm asking you to treat them like humans and, you know, give them a sandwich. And that's all I got.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean.
How's your guys' day? You guys look tired. You guys look dead. My voice is not even kicking in right now. But anyways, I got a question to start out first. Is how many of you guys have a pet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of... I don't even want to count right now, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 people. That's a big number. Okay, so growing up, Me and my family always had a family pet, and I always had passion and love towards animals. So over the summer, I worked at my dad's store. And every time I drive down Chicago, I'd always see at least one homeless animal at the side. And I always wondered to myself, what is the reason towards all this? So later on, when college started, in my Count 102 class, I had an opportunity to go out for my service learning and participate at the animal shelter. First day I got there, I spoke to a woman named Jennifer. And I'd see animals coming in and out, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of animals coming in and out. What is the reason towards all this? So I asked her a couple questions like, why are there so many homeless animals? And she was telling me that people simply can't afford to take care of them, simply them getting abused or them just getting strayed or getting lost. And people don't come back to claim their own animals. And I'm like, wow, if you have a pet, wouldn't you have that love for it to keep it next to you guys and want it to be with you all the time? In America, the ASPCA organization states that there are 7.6 million homeless animals going in shelters every year, which plays a huge effect on all of us. We should always speak up for those that can't speak up for themselves. And what you might ask yourself, what could you do to help? You simply donating food to the animal shelter. You simply telling a friend, hey, are you looking for a pet, an animal? Here, go check out the animal shelter. They have something going on. You giving time out of your day to go 1 or 2 hours to go help them clean the cages, because there's not enough people for them to always have all the cages cleaned out. It's your time to make this action.
Thank you.
13 siblings is what my father had in a 2-bedroom house in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. Now, many of you have siblings, I'm assuming, but I'm sure none of you guys have 13. And I'm sure none of you guys live in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. 13 miles to the nearest hospital. 13 miles to the nearest school. 13 miles to the nearest anything. 13 miles here, get to Starbucks. 13 miles here, get to McDonald's. 13 miles in Mexico, gets you nowhere. My father lived in poverty. He had nothing, absolutely nothing. From the age of 13, he was working day and night to bring home bread, stale, moldy bread for his 13 siblings. I guarantee you, not a single person in this room has to struggle like him. Fast forward centuries, years and years of hard work, and look at me, in college, pursuing a career. That's what my father did for me. He was brought up from global poverty. And here I stand. 22,000 kids die every single day due to global poverty. 22,000. Your little brother, your little sister dies today because they don't have food, because they don't have shelter, because they do not have clothes on their back, and they die every single day. There's a saying, out of sight, out of mind. I do not agree with that saying. Because for those little kids, it's out of sight, out of mind, out of life. They do not have a chance to stand where I am standing. They do not have a chance to sit there and go to college and to pursue their career. They don't have a chance to live, but yet we do. But yet we sit here and we go on our iPhones while people talk. Yet we sit here and we throw away food that we don't eat. For what? Because we're spoiled. We lack the compassion. We lack the motivation to help each other. I stand here today to fight global poverty. I stand here today to show that it can be fought and it can be won. My father is living proof. I am living proof. Your father, your mother is living proof. Every single one of you is living proof that global poverty doesn't have to be global. We don't have to live in poverty. We can fight this. Recently, I worked with Working Bikes, an organization that helps fight global poverty. We fix the bikes and we send them out. We send them out to Africa, we send them out to Latin America, we send them out to Europe. Anywhere and everywhere we send these bikes to. And it helps. It helps my father travel his 13 miles on bike to the nearest hospital. It helps him travel to the nearest village to help other people. Now imagine what that does for other kids. They can ride their bikes to school. They can ride their bikes to the hospital. They can ride their bikes to get food. Bikes. What you have in your garage that's collecting rust that you don't use anymore, yeah, that can save a life. That right there can save families. Working Bikes was an eye-opening experience. It brought down so much knowledge upon me that bikes can help everybody. Bikes can help fight global poverty. They create jobs. They create transportation. Stuff that people need to survive, for people to get to the nearest hospital, it helps them get there. But yet we just throw ours away. Today I come to you to help that cause. To help fight global poverty. To donate your bike. To go to the nearest bike place and help a bike out. Because by helping a bike out, you help out a kid. You help out a father. You help out a mother. You help them see another day. I come here today as a call to action. You guys make the difference. You guys decide whether that kid lives or whether that kid dies. Thank you.
So how many of you have heard the saying, you can't pick your parents? A lot of you? Well, in my life, the saying was kind of flipped around because my parents, you can't really choose your kids, but instead my parents did pick their kids. They picked me. Right when I was born, I was placed in a foster care, and after 4 years of jumping around from family to family, I was adopted. My parents are so selfless because not only did they adopt me, but my 4 other siblings as well. However, my 4 siblings were adopted much later in life, so unfortunately they had to endure a lot of traumatic events that affected them not only emotionally, physically, but mentally as well. However, with the help of my parents and the role that DCFS played in helping them to get the therapy that they needed, they were granted a new beginning and a new life. We as Americans are spoiled with the basic necessities of life. A lot of us don't have to question where we're going to sleep at night, or if we're going to eat, or if we are even going to school. However, a lot of children in the U.S. do have to question that. What about everyone else in the world? What about the community that you live in? What about the new family that just moved down the block? Or what about your friends or even your family? What about the person that is sitting right next to you? They could be suffering. For my service learning site, I went to My Joyful Heart, and My Joyful Heart is a foundation that provides kids with care packages of the basic necessities that they need, such as clothes, books, or hygiene items. Diane Carroll started off by just loving 2 children. She fell in love with these 2 kids and she decided to help them. After helping them, she devoted her whole life to helping other kids in the U.S. or in Illinois, in Mokina. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what can I do? Childhood poverty is a huge epidemic and not one person can change the world. However, you can change one child's life like Diane did, or like my parents did. So I have a homework assignment for all of you, and I want you to take out a pen or a pencil, and I want you to write down this address. My homework assignment for you guys is to go into your houses and look at what you have. Do I really need this toy that my mom's been saving for me for my kids that I haven't played with in 15 years? Do I really need this book that I've never even cracked open or that I never will read? Or do I even need this extra toothbrush that I just have laying around that hasn't even been used that I got at the dentist 10 years ago? Probably not. So I want you to take all of those items that you don't need, put them in a bag, and go to this address and drop it off at My Joyful Heart. And if you don't have a car to get you there, you can come to me during class and just give me all the things that you want to donate, because not only does that one thing change a child's life, but in the end, it'll change all the child's lives that are dealing with childhood poverty. Thank you.
When I was 9 years old, my parents separated. When I was 9 years old, I was not allowed to see my mom. I was not allowed to visit with her without having my grandparents there. I lived with my dad, okay? And he's a great man, don't get me wrong. But I have 2 older siblings and me, 3 children, in one house. He could not afford to put food in the pantry. He could not afford to put food in the fridge. He put all his money toward the bills. Later on, I ended up living with my mom, come sophomore year, and she was amazing, but she suffered the same thing. She had a hard time putting food in the fridge. It was hard for me, it was hard for her, so she got help. She went to food pantries. She got a link card as well. She got help. And in return, that helped me. That helped me eat. That helped me go through another day, another lesson of school. Moraine Valley, our very own school, believe it or not, provides a pantry. It's right here in the S building. It's a small little room, I give or take. It doesn't have much, but it has enough to put something in your stomach. Recently, me and my partner, we did a survey. And in the survey, I asked a question. I said, out of 1 through 10, how many of you would rate 10 that you would help a friend out? How many of you would? I honestly, a show of hands, I would. Exactly. So, I asked this question, and I thought that was interesting. I also asked one other question. I asked if anyone knew of this food pantry. A lot of people said no. And a lot of other people said it was the U building. They thought it was the cafeteria in the U building. I thought that was hilarious, give or take. It shouldn't really be that funny. But no, we do have a pantry. And there are ways you can help out that pantry. So, me and my partner put together a poster. And I apologize, I don't have it with me, but you will be seeing it soon. And I want you to show people this poster. I want you to be able to tell others that there is an opportunity for them to eat, because I'm telling you right now, it is difficult to come to school and to be hungry. I know this. I have experience with it. When I was little, I would tell my dad that I don't feel good. I don't want to go to school. I was 9. I didn't want to go to school hungry because I didn't know I was hungry. I thought I was sick. My stomach hurt that bad. And there could be someone in this very room who might feel the same way. And they don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. That's understandable. But to make it known, to let them know at least where to go, is the best thing you could do. And not just telling them, but you could also do something about it. Like I said, this pantry is very small. There's not a lot in it. Come on, when you go home, you know there's a can of tomato soup sitting in your pantry that you do not want. You could easily walk to the S building. You come here every single day for a class. Well, one thing I would like to address though is that your voice can go far just by telling a friend to tell another friend to come in. And if you're still uncertain of where it is, you can come and talk to the counseling office. They are a part of it. Same with Trio. Those two combined are the two that have made this pantry work. And yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Anne, and today I would like to talk about the issue the immigrants have to face in America. According to the MPI, 42.4 million people immigrants are living in the United States right now, and I am the one of them. The English is always a huge issue for the newcomer when they come to America, and they can become discriminated again if they don't speak English fluently. I have the best real experience in my life, and at that time I don't have the good English skills to communicate with the people, so it's difficult challenge for me to get a job. So, but finally I get a job at the Chinese restaurant, and then like I worked there for like 12 hours with $8 and without getting health insurance and a tip. And one day my owner told me to work a couple hours late, but at the end she didn't get me to get more money for that. And I almost got fired if with asking more money. Yeah, I had to walk away because at that time I need that job because I need to walk away. If you can imagine that if you go to a different country to live and go to a university, go to school, it's not easy for you to adapt a new culture and language. I did a research paper, and it said like it takes 4 years to go to school regularly in order to master the English. And it's true because it's now take 4 years for me to learn and English. Yeah. I have a quick question for you guys. What can you do without speaking English in America? I think the answer is nothing, right? What is it? Gesture. Okay. But like at the first time when I come to America, I always use gesture, yeah, to explain my my meaning. But yeah, you can do that. But it's not the long term to do that. Yeah, yeah. And then I meet the elderly people who at the ASL conversation, and then the man who cannot have a common conversation with America. He just know like, hi, how are you? That's it. That's all he know. And then he cannot get a driver license, and then in order food in America. It's more like he always eat like the Polish food, not the American food. You can imagine that like how many people they live in America without a driver license. It's really hard for them to get a job, and then so they cannot support their family. Have the one people, it's more like they have a whole their family. You guys can be the solution that problem to help them to adopt in American life. Take the action to help an immigrant to live in America. People should have a great understanding and respect other language and the culture what they go to school or attend in the class. And people can have a patience with the immigrant because it takes time for them to learn to practice speaking and learning English. You guys can come to the ASL conversation, to help them more opportunity to speaking with a Native American, so they can they don't feel lonely when while they don't feel lonely, and they can improve their English skill. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Val.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Ocampo, and I just want to start off by saying, for those of you that have pets, how many of you guys adopted them from a shelter? Okay, that's a pretty good amount. Well, when I was in the 7th grade, my cousin asked me if I wanted to dog sit for one of his friend's dogs. She was going out of town for a week, and she asked if I wanted to dog sit. And I was excited, you know, because I never had a dog before, and I just wanted to prove to my parents that I could take care of a dog, so hopefully I could get one later on in time. Well, when I brought home the dog, well, when she brought the dog over, his name was Toby. He was a very small dog. He was a Yorkshire Terrier. He was maybe about a year old already. And so I was excited, you know, to play with like a dog. He was a small dog, so I was excited. But I noticed that he was very timid. He didn't really like to play. He would just lay around all day. So I was like, man, what a boring dog, you know? I was like, I want to play with him. But I noticed like if I even like brought my hand up towards him, like he would flinch. And I was a little like worried, like, why does he do that? And then the more that I like got used to him, I noticed that he had a slightly bent left ear. And I was like, what could that be? And I was in 7th grade, so, you know, I didn't really know anything about it. So I asked my parents if we could take him to the vet, and I asked my cousin to let his friend know if it would be okay if we took him to the vet. So being at the vet, I found out that he had a broken left ear, and he had a slight heart murmur, and he wasn't up to the full weight that he was supposed to be at. So I talked to my cousin, and he said that his friend never really had time for the dog, that he mostly kept him in a cage all day, that he was never really home to even play with him. But he had gotten the dog as a gift, so he just kept him around. And the dog, Toby, he actually got bit by another dog, but the guy never took him to the vet to fix his ear. So after a while, you know, when his friend came back from his trip, I asked him if I could keep Toby. You know, I told him, you know, you don't really have time for the dog, and I would have a lot of time for the dog. And I convinced my parents, and they were on board because they felt bad for him. And I mean, I pretty much got attached to him just within that week. And so his friend had agreed to let me keep him, and I was happy, but I was also sad, you know, because how could you just neglect a dog like that? How could you not want to take him to the vet, and now he has a broken ear? But I've had my dog Toby for 7 years already, and I just recently got another dog. But when I found out about the service learning project and I saw that the animal welfare was one of the options, I immediately chose that option because, first of all, I'd never been to a shelter before, but I have heard about things that like go on in shelters, that it's like crazy. There's always dogs going in and out. So I was pretty excited. So going into like my first day being there, like I felt kind of sad. Like, you know, these dogs spent the majority of their day in cages, you know, even if you take them out just for those 2 minutes for a walk, they're happy. They're like jumping around. They're crazy, you know? And so, yeah, it like being there those couple of days that I went, it was very busy. I did see a couple of like dogs that were like really like messed up. I did see some dogs with like really bad fur that was like knotted up. I saw a lot of dogs were like very timid, or some of them didn't even want to come out of their cages because they were so scared. Being there, it was an eye-opening experience because you never really think about how many homeless dogs and like cats there really are in the world. Every day there's hundreds of dogs coming into the shelters. There's not a single day where there isn't animals going into shelters. Well, yeah, every day there's hundreds of dogs going into the shelter, whether they're given up or they're brought in as strays. Another thing I wanted to point it out is how many of you guys have heard about puppy mills, by a show of hands? Okay, that's a good amount. Well, puppy mills is where dogs are breeded to make profit out of. All the dogs that you see at the store, like the pet shops, like Pet Love or Pet Land, those dogs all come from puppy mills. Just at 8 weeks, dogs are sent out to these pet shops and they're sold for like thousands of dollars. And like most of them like don't even come with their shots. They don't have that proper vet care that they're supposed to have. They're overcrowded in puppy mills, and having those puppy mills is just contributing to the more homelessness of the animals. So my suggestion to you guys, if you guys are like wanting to have a pet, have a dog, have a cat, you can get one for way much more cheaper by just adopting one. If you go to an animal shelter, it'll be like less than $200. They already have their vaccines, they have a microchip, they're all spayed and neutered. That's like a plus compared to paying thousands of dollars for a dog that doesn't have its vaccines, doesn't have a microchip, and doesn't have like the proper vet care. You can get one that is just searching for a new home and wants a second chance. So another thing you guys can do is volunteer at your local shelter. If you guys can't have a pet at home, you guys can volunteer. There's hundreds of shelters around here, and you guys, if you guys can't volunteer, you guys can donate. A lot of shelters do take donations because they do use that for the food to feed the animals and stuff like that. So yeah, I would encourage you guys to volunteer. And I mean, who wouldn't want to play with puppies and cats for like hours? You know, you just could play with them and show them some love, you know, because a lot of them are in those cages for hours a day, and just those 2 minutes that you take them out and pay attention to them, it really does make a difference. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Adam. Who has nieces and nephews? I know I do. I have nieces and nephews who have learning disability. I know I had learning disability when I was little. I know how they feel. Now, there's $2 million budget crisis for those little kids. They have disabilities. They're taken out of programs of schools. They have learning disabilities and they won't succeed later in life. Like, can you imagine that? I know I can't. We have so much programs now, but think of the little kids. They're not going to have them, and they're going to not succeed in life. That's kind of sad to think about. $2 million in budget crisis. Think of that. Of what's going on. Now what you can do is go and volunteer in your local like kindercare or local preschools and find out if they have any programs that can help out the little kids. And if they don't have programs, you can go to your city hall and speak. Speak now, because it's your time to help out the little kids. Thank you.
All right, it's probably not time for three. Well, we're almost out of time, and it's probably good because I'm getting overwhelmed by all of these amazing stories that you guys are telling anyway. So, you know, it didn't work out just perfectly, you know, so next time we're only going to have a handful, maybe 3 to 5, because there's a couple people who aren't here. But we'll meet in this room, okay, and we'll have the continuation of the event, and we'll probably hang out here after that and do some work, okay, that we need to take care of for a little bit anyway. Okay, but I wanted to say thank you to everybody who participated so far today. It was amazing. You guys are really courageous to come up here and speak authentically about things that you believe in and that you've been doing. So thank you very much for your courage, and we're going to pick it up next class in this very spot. Okay, thank you, everybody.